Hello, and welcome to this short introduction to a new feature that we've added into our audit templates, that of the sample selector. So I'm in an engagement here, and as usual, you'll go through your risk assessment, and I'm going to be looking in particular at the expenditure section here. And you can see I've assessed my existence and my current risk levels. We then would go to our materiality form, and we've already selected materiality at 50,000, 3,750. And if we go to B40, where we're going to analyze the work we're going to carry out on the expenditure section, we can see here I've got my existence and occurrence coming through, and I'm going to be looking in test of details. So in those test of details, we're going to be doing some sampling. So I've already created a sample selection form. So this is to identify the actual number of the sample that we're going to test. And here we've got the form filled out as yours, existence and occurrence. We can see there I've got my population value, I've got my materiality level, and I've got my sample form, my sample size form here. And we can see that I've got my existence and occurrence coming through at levels 2 and 1, and I have assessed that overall at a inherent risk of 1, and with the materiality factor calculated as well, I've got a sample size of 30. So we're going to do the typical test where you are in your expenditure, substantive work, and you're going to select an appropriate sample of debit entries in the nominal ledger. You can see how, again, I've already attached the individual sampling form to this, so that will take me directly back to that form. Now, to do this, then we've now enabled the import of ledger routine. So I've imported both an accounts payable invoices subset and also a general ledger. Now it's a fairly small general ledger here that I've imported, but you can see I've got the whole nominal ledger here listed out. And within that, you will have the full ledger items. So you will have cash disbursements there. We've also got sales journals, sales invoices. We'll also have got purchase invoices within that whole data set. So what we're going to do now is interrogate that data set for purchase ledger invoices and to extract a sample for us that we can then use in our file. So what we've now got is this sample selector form, which is here in the sampling section. And you can use this sample selection form with a general ledger or accounts payable or accounts receivable data sets. And what we've done is enabled this, and this goes through into our analytics hub. And so this utilizes the analytics hub to select that sample for you from your data set that you've got. So I'm going to go into I've just selected the general ledger as we were looking at, because that's our directional testing. So I'm going to do a general ledger test here, and I'm going to take my random sample of items. So I've got a sample size here of 30. You can see here I've got a filter on there as well. So you can filter the entire. So I've got the entire general ledger set up there, but I can filter that out. So I can filter it by originating document, and because I'm looking just for purchase invoices, when I set this up, those were items which are entitled as PJ, purchase invoices. I'm also going to remove any negative items, so any credit notes that we have received as well. So I can select the amount, and I can say I want anything that's greater than 0. And you can add other conditions to that if you want as well. So that will filter out a number of other elements. And just for one further detail, in my detail comment, in this particular case, I'm just looking after items which are indicated as being purchases. So we've got our full data set now, and we've got our sample size, which I've put in here, of 30. That's the one that we calculated on our sample creation. So we're going to click that. I'm just going to take a random sample, and we run that, and that goes through that whole data set as we've got left, and we'll just randomly select for you 30 invoices for which you can then use as your test for your test basis. So those results should just come up now, and we can see there I've got my samples here of 30 items, and I can expand that, and you can see there these are all purchase journals. These are all the amounts, these are account numbers, etc. From our ledger. And we can export that now. So we can actually export that to a CSV file. And once that's completed, you can then open that CSV file. And so this now has extracted those 30 items that you're wanting to test, and you can then use that CSV file, can convert it to an Excel file. I'll just convert that to an Excel workbook. And as a result of that, you can now add this workbook to your account, your file. So if we go back to the document manager, go back to our expenditure section, we can bring that in, we can drop that purchase invoices sample onto our document manager, and we can then use that and attach it into our individual work program here, and we can find that on the document manager, and there it is, our purchase invoices. So that's our purchase invoice sample, and now what we can do is therefore use that to open up, and we'll open up our Excel document, and there you have it. There is your sample form, and you can use this then as your basis for the sample form. So this is a way that we can now use the data that you've imported. You can go into use the Analytics Hub, and you can select your sample for work in your audit. Thank you.